Hey everyone, and welcome. So, have you ever been learning Portuguese and you run into these verbs that just don't follow the rules? It can be super frustrating, I know. Well, today we are going to crack the code on one of the biggest hurdles for learners, those tricky, irregular verbs that end in ER. Let's get right into it.
So let's start with what I call the verb puzzle. This is that moment, and every language learner has it, where the patterns you've been working so hard to memorize just kind of seem to fall apart.
I bet this feels really familiar, right? You learn the regular endings for verbs like comer or beber. You're feeling good, you're feeling confident, and then bam, you hit a verb that just looks completely wrong. It's annoying, for sure, but I promise you, there is a logic to the madness. Okay, and this is where the problem really becomes crystal clear. Over on the left, you've got comer, a nice regular verb. You drop the ER, you add an O, and you get eu como. Simple, predictable, love it. But then, look at fazer on the right. If we follow that same rule, it should be faço, right? But it's not. It's faço. And that's the exact puzzle we're here to solve today. So how in the world do we make sense of this? Well, let's move on, because there is a surprisingly simple key that unlocks pretty much all of these verbs. I like to call it the U code. First, just a quick definition so we're all on the same page. An irregular verb is, just one that doesn't play by the normal rules. But here's the real clue, the most important thing to notice. The weirdness, the irregularity is almost always the most obvious in the first person singular, the eu form. And here it is. This is the big reveal. The whole secret is this. If you can just learn that one unique IU form for an irregular verb, you've got the code. That one little piece of information is the key that makes everything else fall into place. Let me show you exactly what I mean. Okay, take the verb ver, to see. The key isn't the verb itself. It's knowing that for I, it becomes eu visual. How about ler, to read? The code is eu leio. You see the pattern? Our old friend fazer, to do or to make. The secret, eu faço. And one more, saber, to know. The key is eu sei. See? Once you know that one unique form, you're not guessing anymore. You've got the foundation. All right, so now that you have the secret code, let's meet the main cast of characters. These are the most common, the most essential, irregular ER verbs that you're going to be using all the time. So here's our list of 10. Now I know it might look like a lot at first glance, but just remember, you already learned the secret to unlocking all of them. These verbs are so powerful, and mastering them is going to be a massive leap forward for your fluency. And here, you can really see that code in action. Just look at that top row. Vejo, leio, faço. Those are our unique eu forms, the keys we just talked about. Now look at the rows underneath. See how they start to look more regular? Once you know the key, like faço, the rest, like fazes and faz, start to make a whole lot more sense. Let's keep it rolling with the next group. For dizer, the key is digo. For trazer, it's trago. And for saber, it's that short and sweet say. Once you have those locked in, the rest of the chart just doesn't seem so intimidating anymore, does it? And for our final group, poder becomes posso. Perder becomes perco. Querer is quero. And then por, which is a little bit of a special case, becomes ponho. But again, just focus on that top row. If you can memorize that, you've seriously done like 80% of the hard work. Okay, so knowing the charts is one thing, but using these verbs and feeling confident about it in a real conversation, well, that's the real goal, isn't it? So let's see how they actually show up in the wild. This is a perfect everyday exchange. The question uses the to form, which looks pretty regular. Pode sair? Can you go out? But the answer uses our irregular key, não posso, I can't. It's simple, it's natural, and now you know exactly why it works that way. Here's another great one. Somebody's asking for information. Sabem a que horas é o filme? Do you all know what time the movie is? And the response, no sabemos. No, we don't know. This is just a super common, useful exchange you are going to hear all the time. And let's check this one out. The question is, quem é que põe a mesa? Who sets the table? And a totally natural answer could be, ao almoço ponho eu. At lunch, I set it. You can see our key il form, ponho, being used directly. So cool. Let's just fire off a few more quick examples here. Eu nunca vejo televisão. I never watch television.
Or, amanhã trago-te o DVD. Tomorrow I'll bring you the DVD. And, ele sabe falar muitas línguas. He knows how to speak many languages. You can really start to see just how essential these verbs are for everyday life.
Okay, let's wrap this all up. What you've just learned isn't some boring old grammar rule. I want you to think of it as a new superpower that's going to let you speak and understand Portuguese with so much more confidence.
So here are the main things to take away. First, these irregular verbs are everywhere. You've got to know them. Second, the single most important thing to learn for each one is that unique EU form. That's your code. And finally, you have that code now. You are totally equipped to start using these verbs. 10. That's the number. You have just cracked the code for 10 of the most essential, most frequently used verbs in European Portuguese. That is a huge accomplishment, and believe me, it is going to have a massive impact on your conversations. So, I'll leave you with this question. Which one of these new superpower verbs are you going to use first? Are you going to say, eu quero café? Or maybe, eu não sei? Or, eu faço o jantar hoje? Think about it, pick one, and go use your new superpower today. Thanks for joining me.